So we touched on a little bit when we did our gallery walk on and demand about the concept of equilibrium, and that's going to be the focus of this video today and how supply and demand work together to find the equilibrium. So a surplus is part of that. A surplus is the condition in which the quantity supplied of a good is greater than the quantity demanded. Surpluses occur only at prices above the equilibrium price. So remember, where the demand curve and supply curve intersect, it's only the area in between the two. Prices fall when a surplus occurs because suppliers hope to sell their inventory, also known as the excess stock of goods that they have on hand. A shortage is the condition in which the quantity demanded of a good is greater than the quantity supplied. Shortages occur only at prices below the equilibrium price. So the area between the bottom of where the supply curve and demand curve intersect. Prices rise when there is a shortage. Buyers will offer to pay a higher price to get sellers to sell to them rather than other buyers. Here's a closer look at what that looks like on the graph. So, moving to equilibrium, copy this example down to your notes. I know it's going to take a little bit, but do copy the entire example, including the graph. So, at $15, a surplus occurs. The quantity supplied, 150, is greater than the quantity demanded, which is 50. So the price will fall. At $10, oops, sorry. At $10, results is neither a surplus nor a shortage. The quantity supplied, 100, is equal to the quantity demanded, 100. So at this point, equilibrium occurs. At $5, a shortage happens. The quantity demanded, 150, is greater than the quantity supplied. So the price will rise. When price is at equilibrium level, there are no shortages or surpluses of any goods or services. It's at the equilibrium that all buyers and sellers are happy with the market. So we're going to analyze a shift in supply and demand. Graph A shows how the market finds a new equilibrium when there is an increase in supply. Oops, oh my goodness. So here's our original supply curve and then our demand curve. If there's an increase in supply, our supply curve shifts to the right, and now we have a new equilibrium. So it went from $500 to $300 for the price and quantity demanded and quantity supplied to a 3. Graph B shows how the market finds a new equilibrium when there is an increase in demand. So the blue curve is our original demand curve. There's an increase in demand, so it's going to shift to the right, the purple curve. And now we have a new equilibrium. So with the original equilibrium, we had 300 quantity demanded and supplied at about $20. With our new equilibrium, it's 400 quantity demanded and supplied at about $30. So, sometimes the government will try to prevent uh, a surplus or a shortage by setting certain controls. And one of these is a price control. So, price control is their attempt at preventing markets from reaching an equilibrium price. So, they may prevent a equilibrium price by setting a price ceiling or a price floor. A price ceiling is a maximum price that can be legally charged for a good. An example would be rent control. Rent control is where a government sets a maximum amount that can be charged for rent in an area. So a price ceiling is going to make high prices illegal. Price ceilings may also cause shortages. A price floor is a minimum price set by the government that must be paid for a good or service. A price floor will make low prices illegal. An example of a price floor is minimum wage. Minimum wage sets a minimum price that an employer can pay a worker for an hour of labor. Price ceilings and price floors have the unintended result of reducing the amount of trade in the economy. So it's not always a good thing. So we're going to look at some examples of just supply and demand in everyday life. So with goods, we have price of consumer goods like candy bars, bread, and it's consistent throughout the United States. Candy bar in California tends to cost about the same as it would in the state of Wisconsin. It's kind of that neutral, it's not going to change much. Real estate can vary a lot, and it demonstrates the impact of supply and demand very well. A house in San Francisco will sell for about 4 times the amount of a similar house in Louisville, Kentucky. A $1 million house in San Francisco will cost about 250,000 in Louisville. The housing in the two states can't move to equilibrium because the land cannot be moved. It can't be changed. Movies. Ticket prices to see a movie on Friday night cost more than a ticket on Monday afternoon. There's a higher demand for the tickets on the weekend. And a theater has a fixed number of seats. So, in response to the higher demand, the theater can charge more money. The freeway. During rush hour, the demand for freeway space increases. This results in a shortage of space, which causes slow traffic. Some potential solutions to the shortage of space during rush hour would be to build more freeways, have a carpool, or charge a toll. Sports. There are a limited number of spots on sports teams. Individuals compete for a spot, and athletes have to train harder and impress the coaches to get a spot. So there's a large supply of athletes out there, but there's very limited spots available. So the supply, as far as how many spots are available on a team, are very limited. So they have a good ability to kind of really pick and choose who they want because the demand is high. Lots of people want those limited spots. Colleges. Some college require higher GPAs and test scores to gain admission. A college that is in high demand will have higher entrance requirements. And that is the end of the video on equilibrium.